see you then. From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a warning from the Bush administration that events unfolding in the Soviet Union are so potentially dangerous, the United States must get involved, and it will be expensive to avoid chaos, if it can be avoided at all. In a speech at Princeton University today, Secretary of State Baker said the U.S. will play host to an international conference early in January to coordinate massive financial aid to the Soviet Union. The Bush administration says the alternative could be fascism or anarchy. Here's ABC's John McCarthy.
Announcing the international conference, Secretary Baker said the U.S. was sending new shipments of food and medicine. The White House was quick to say those shipments will not involve any new money. Even so, Baker hinted the U.S. and others will have to spend much more, at least in part to give those leaders who favor democracy some support.
The people are tired and hungry. They are disoriented and they are confused. These people must be able to see that Democrats and reformers can deliver the goods.
Baker warned that what happens because of the current revolution could send shockwaves all the way to America.
Much as we will benefit if this revolution succeeds, we will pay if it fails.
If there is civil war or anarchy, U.S. analysts expect millions of hungry refugees to flood Europe, placing an enormous new burden on the West. European banks that have provided huge loans to the Soviet Union could be in jeopardy. And American plans to reduce defense spending may have to be completely revised if unfriendly dictatorships emerge in those republics that have nuclear weapons. The first thing the U.S. must do, Baker said, is help to dismantle those nuclear weapons, even if it means the U.S. has to help pay.
Surely, the American people will be willing to spend some of our defense budget at a cost of less than $2 per person in order to begin destroying nuclear weapons that continue to be aimed at us.
So Baker has outlined why America must help. It will now be up to the president to figure out how, when public opinion polls clearly indicate the American people want him to concentrate on problems at home. John McCarthy, ABC News, the State Department.
In Moscow today, a clue to what kind of money may be involved. Jeffrey Sachs, a Harvard economist who helped design Poland's economic revival plan, says the Russian Republic alone needs $15 billion in aid to convert to a free market economy. He's in Moscow to advise Boris Yeltsin, whose power increases every day as Mikhail Gorbachev's diminishes. Here's ABC's John Donovan.
In one part of Moscow, it was Mikhail Gorbachev, lamenting the course of events, sounding forsaken. At the same hour, not far away, a celebration in the Parliament of the Russian Republic, just convinced by Boris Yeltsin to ratify Russia's membership in the Commonwealth of Independent States, destined, many now believe, to replace the Soviet Union. Yeltsin told them this is an historic moment, and he thanked them. Yeltsin then continued to drum up support for the Commonwealth, holding talks with the president of the Soviet Republic of Moldavia, which is now interested in joining, as are several, perhaps most, of the other republics.
What that means is that if the Commonwealth of Independent States works, and if most of the republics join it, it may not be so different from the old Soviet Union after all.
Especially if it follows the design that Yeltsin outlined today. The ruble would remain the national currency. There would be one army, one central command over nuclear weapons. Borders between republics would be open for trade. Citizens of one republic could live and work in any other. And as a practical matter, they may need to keep the ministries of the Soviet bureaucracy running, though they'll be given less power than before, and presumably they'll need someone to oversee all of it. But they won't have Gorbachev, not even in the figurehead role that's been discussed, if he keeps the promise he made today. I will resign, he said. If the Commonwealth comes into being, I will resign. That used to be a threat, but even Gorbachev himself has begun to speak of his career in the past tense, saying today, the main work of my life is finished. John Donovan, ABC News, Moscow.
Another challenge to Mr. Gorbachev, the president of Ukraine, Leonid Kravchuk, has named himself commander-in-chief of those Soviet armed forces based on Ukrainian territory. The order, he said, covers only conventional forces, not nuclear or strategic weapons. And one other note from the Soviet Union, the former East German communist boss, Erich Honecker, has taken refuge in the Chilean embassy in Moscow while a debate ensues about his future. Mr. Honecker fled to Moscow last March rather than be put on trial in a reunited Germany. The Russian government has ordered him expelled. The Chilean embassy says he doesn't qualify for political asylum, but he can stay in the embassy for now. When we come back, inflation under control, but retailers caught in the squeeze. Also tonight on the broadcast, listening to what the voters have to say a few days before the first televised debate among Democrats who want to be president. And finally this evening, the old meets the new at the Camp Stool Ranch.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by the Discover Card.
Do your holiday shopping with the Discover Card, and you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to discover.
Every time it rains, it rains.
The Discover Card pays a cashback bonus on every penny you charge.
Pennies from heaven.
It pays to discover.
It's gone. But it isn't.
Vicks introduces an incredible new cough drop.
It's gone, but it isn't.
A cough drop so powerful, it keeps on working even after the drop is gone. It's extra strength Vicks, a new kind of Vicks with twice the Vicks vapor medicine to relieve your cough and help your scratchy throat and stuffy nose feel better, even after the drop is gone. New extra strength Vicks, extra strong to work
even after it's gone.
On the economy today, consumers keeping a very tight grip on their wallets. Retail sales were up last month, but not very much. Just 0.3%, even though retailers have been cutting prices on everything in sight. That has helped to keep inflation down. Wholesale prices rose only 0.2% in November. Still, low prices have a negative side. Here's our economics editor, Stephen Ogg.
People are buying personal computers because they can get them at a lower price. On average, almost 20% lower than last year. This Washington, D.C. dealer says business is great.
The good thing about the industry is that the prices keep dropping. Brings more people into the market, makes people who couldn't afford a PC maybe 6 months ago all of a sudden be able to afford one.
And that's good for consumers and some retailers, but not for manufacturers. They have to sell at lower prices because people won't buy any other way. That means lower profits and more layoffs, potentially making the recession worse. The same thing happens when people have a choice on price. This Glendale, California dealer says people who used to buy a case or two of expensive wine no longer do.
Now it is becoming, well, gee, I don't want this wine. It's $30 or $40 that I have to wait 10 years to drink. Instead, I need an $8 or $9 Chardonnay that I can drink more near term or have it with, dinner parties, Friday, Saturday night type thing.
With consumers buying cheaper wine, some California wineries are unable to cover what they say are rising costs, so profits are falling. Basically, this is what happens in a typical recession. Demand falls and so do prices. That squeezes companies that need to grow in order for the economy to recover. Stephen Ogg, ABC News, Washington.
One sure sign of a recession, a growing number of people strapped for cash using pawn shops. And some of the most thriving pawn shops are those where you drive in but not out. ABC's Brian Rooney in Beverly Hills.
In Beverly Hills, you can buy just about anything if you have the money. But if money is what you need, you can drive your fancy car down to a pawn shop called Collateral Lender and get cash in your pocket.
This car belongs to a stockbroker that came on a margin call. This is a Rolls-Royce.
The owner pawned his Rolls and left with a $15,000 loan. The interest rate on that loan starts at 4% a month. That's 48% a year. It is legal and a last resort for a lot of people. Hundreds of the wealthy have hocked their high-priced cars to get through tough times. They pawn Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, and Porsches, which can be sold after 4 months if the owner stops paying interest. Many of the clients are people with businesses or real estate, people who own expensive things. For the moment, they need money, but they cannot get a loan from the bank.
Try to get money from the bank now and you'll see. First of all, if you qualify, it's going to take you about 4 weeks. But to be qualified right now, it's very, very, very hard.
In Denver, Auto Pawn USA caters to a more middle-class clientele.
Anything you'll see in the grocery store parking lot we've probably pawned.
Your first payment will be due on the 9th of January?
This is the only thing I basically own to myself. I say I got to get the rent paid for.
It's a sign of the times. In a society based on the automobile, it's a drive-in and walk-away business. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In other news today, the Teamsters Union has said goodbye to the mafia. That's the way the Teamsters' new president, Ron Carey, put it today, having just won the union's first election in which a secret ballot was used. The federal government forced the election after accusing the union of making what the government called a devil's pact with the mob. On Wall Street, stocks ended a week of declines. The Dow Jones Industrials gained more than 29 points to close at 28.95, and the trading was heavy. Overseas again in the South Korean capital Seoul today, North and South Korea have agreed to sign a non-aggression pact, their first major political agreement since the Korean peninsula was divided 46 years ago. Each government now promises not to try to overthrow the other. We'll have more news in a moment.
Look what's popping up, fat-free Special K waffles from Eggo. Once you see how good fat-free can be, oh no, you never let go.
No way. It's all mine.
Special K waffles from Eggo.
Eggo Special K waffles. Crisp, delicious, yet every bite fat-free, cholesterol-free, and just 80 calories per waffle. See how good fat-free can be.
Oh no, you never let go. Nah. Special K waffles from Eggo.
Mothers have learned from countless doctors and pharmacists to take care of coughs with Robitussin. And they've taken this advice home. Robitussin, recommended by Dr. Mom. Ask your doctor or pharmacist.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
Only Western Union can get money to over 16,000 locations in minutes. Nobody else even comes close. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
I was a dedicated beard wearer until my wife gave me the new Remington Microscreen Elite. It's quick, it's close. The Remington Microscreen Elite has 2 ultra-thin screens. So comfortable, shaves as close as a blade or your money back. That's Remington.
Extra Strength Maalox Plus, the strongest antacid there is, now comes in Extra Strength tablets. Stronger than Tums, stronger than Rolaids. New Extra Strength Maalox Plus, now in tablets.
It's the strongest, and my stomach tells me it's fast.
In medical news today, a trade organization which represents hundreds of hospitals and nursing homes has recommended expanding medical coverage for the poor. American Healthcare System says the additional Medicaid coverage could be paid for with new taxes on alcohol, tobacco, and guns. As you may have heard us say before, this week a group of Democratic senators has been traveling the country trying to get a handle on how the health care system can be improved, and we have been going to some of the same places. In Michigan today, ABC's Chris Bury has found that the cost of coverage is tying people to their jobs.
Pat Davis suffers from job lock, not a disease, a dilemma. The 54-year-old medical technician cannot leave her job, either to find a better one or to retire, for fear of losing her health insurance.
We feel trapped because we can't do what people would like to do at our age.
Pat's husband, who is retired, has diabetes and is going blind. His medical bills are paid by her company insurance. Pat cannot switch jobs because other insurance companies would be unlikely to accept her sick husband. And if she retired, maintaining her current policy would cost more than $4,200 a year.
I don't feel it's fair. I'm angry about it.
That anger is echoed throughout middle-class communities like Warren, where health insurance increasingly narrows choices.
It does limit you.
John Jenna, who owns a small gift shop, says he has trouble hiring qualified people because his business cannot afford to offer them a health plan, especially in a tough economy.
It's very difficult for me at this particular time to do something as costly as a hospital plan.
In Michigan, employers and employees alike are pinched between a lingering recession and rising health costs. For many here, that is a very painful squeeze.
Detroit Macomb Hospital, $12,089.
Barbara Ancalo, who's 55, suffered a heart attack a few months after being laid off last year. Now her medication alone costs $400 a month, and her health insurance will soon expire. That means Barbara must deplete her savings until she can qualify for Medicare in 10 more years.
The money you think you're going to have, that you can have life a little easier and free of mind when you get older, it's gone.
Health insurance has become such a critical concern in the workforce that it was the dominant issue in 75% of the nation's strikes last year. In Michigan, for the first time, some big corporations, Chrysler for one, have joined organized labor in calling for national health insurance.
We need a health policy for this country. We have none. We have a fragmented, uncoordinated system, unlike anywhere else in the world.
It is a system that increasingly frustrates bosses and workers alike. Health insurance so tied to jobs that it ties people down. Chris Bury, ABC News, Warren, Michigan.
The government has announced a new standard for the routine eye exam. It will have to be more thorough. The problem is that too many eye doctors are not checking closely enough for glaucoma, which is the second leading cause of blindness. Here's ABC's George Strait.
Most eye doctors use only this instrument to test for glaucoma. It's called a tonometer, and it measures the fluid pressure in the eye. But the head of the Public Health Service says tonometers are not sufficient because there is no standard for normal eye pressure.
The results obtained through tonometry may give either a false sense of security that they do not have glaucoma, or conversely may indicate elevated intraocular pressure that is entirely normal for that individual.
In addition to the tonometer, the National Eye Institute says doctors should dilate the eyes to examine the optic nerve for early signs of glaucoma. This exam is often not performed now. Some doctors don't realize the need. Others don't want to take the extra 30 minutes with a patient.
It is not typical in perhaps a very routine, brief examination. I feel it's a mandatory part of a thorough, comprehensive examination.
Treated early, glaucoma can be controlled. 3 million Americans have the disease, but only half of them know it. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
A number today which government health officials consider very disturbing. The number of teenage girls who are having babies has gone up to the highest level in 15 years. Health Secretary Louis Sullivan says that points to what he calls a future generation of fragile families. A major setback today for an athlete who has spent years battling a drug habit. Dexter Manley announced today that he's failed a drug test and he is quitting professional football. The NFL had suspended him once before for drug use. I knew what was at stake, Manfully said tearfully today, and I used poor judgment. We'll be back in just a moment.
Considering everything your feet go through, why don't you do something special for them, like slipping them into a pair of Totes Toasties? Totes Toasties are like a pair of soft, warm gloves for your feet. They're extra thick for warmth and comfort, and they have special treads to give you extra traction on slippery floors. So give your feet a treat. Treat them to Totes Toasties.
Home for the holidays with Domino's Pizza's Season's Greetings Special. Now get a medium pepperoni pizza for just $2.99 with your favorite large pizza at the regular price.
Nobody knows. Ho, ho. It's like Domino's, how you like pizza at home.
Introducing Glade Plug-ins Potpourri.
Plug it in the fresh in the air. Plug it in the fresh in everywhere.
Plug into freshness with Glade Plug-ins, now in Potpourri.
Plug it in, plug it in.
It didn't happen in Germany, nor in Japan. It happened right here. An all-new car, born of intelligent engineering. The Oldsmobile 88 Royale. You've seen it, now come drive it. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Now, get 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months.
Presto has a great idea.
Shoot some slices, shoot some shreds, shoot some salad, salad shooter.
Presto has a great big idea. Professional salad shooter slicer shredder. Big capacity, holds a lot, shoots a lot. Powerful, fast, a variety of cutting blades so you can point and slice thick, slice thin, shred right into the bowl, even ripple cut. Chop, grate right where you want. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, store anywhere.
Salad shooter.
Original, cordless, professional salad shooter.
Coming up this weekend, the first of the political season's televised candidate debates. This early in the game only among the Democratic candidates who are after their party's nomination. Tomorrow night, we'll have a look at the candidates. Tonight, to give us all a sense of what the country at large thinks is most urgent, some observations from the largest sample of public opinion we have done so far this year. What Americans say worries them the most comes as no surprise.
The unemployment rate rising and people being out of work, banks closing and shortage of funds.
54% agree that the current recession is America's most pressing problem. Unemployment, poverty, hunger, and homelessness. There are other issues on their minds. 17% say the rise in crime, especially the illegal use of drugs, concern them the most. People are frustrated. 71% of those we talk to say the country is seriously on the wrong track.
I think people are frustrated because it seems like the president and the Congress both aren't doing anything real effective or aren't even trying.
58% of Republicans don't like the way the country's being run, 76% of independents, and 80% of those who say they are Democrats.
Mr. President and Mr. Speaker and members of the United States Congress.
On the question of leadership, 34% say they blame Mr. Bush for the country's economic conditions. 63% say it's the fault of Congress.
Because they're always squabbling over which party is going to come out on top.
Sometimes the politicians get caught up in so much in the politics that the people that they're serving are forgotten.
President Bush has devoted so much of his time to foreign affairs, and 70% think the president handles foreign policy well. But 7 in 10 believe he spends too much time doing it, and too little time on problems at home.
We should help ourselves first. There's poverty in America. There's people that aren't being taken care of here while there's being billions of dollars sent overseas and to other countries that could be, used at home.
The recession has caused some of the other issues that have been at the center of debate in recent years to seem less urgent.
Well, one that I have a great passion for is education. I believe if we as a country are to be able to compete on a global level in an international market, education has got to be at the forefront.
But the majority of the people we talk to are preoccupied with the recession. Only 6% said the quality of education came to mind right away. Race relations were considered problems by only 2%. 4% mentioned health care, and 3% were concerned about abortion.
People seem to get caught up in issues like abortion and flag burning and stuff like that, which are important issues. But if people are out of work and can't pay their bills, a lot of that other stuff isn't as important.
Listening to America. At the White House today, the national Christmas tree was lighted. Not so easily, though. President Bush, who was joined by 5 of the former American hostages in Lebanon, tried flipping the switch that didn't work. And so he did what most people do when they have trouble getting an electronic device to work. He banged it and shook it and stood around for a moment, banged it again, which finally did the trick. We'll have our final report in a moment.
Do you have a cold?
Yes, I do have a cold.
Here's 2 cold medicines. This relieves these 3 symptoms, this 9. Choose one.
I would use this one.
Why?
That's my cold. The fever, the headaches, the sinus congestion.
Here's what you chose.
I'm totally amazed.
Would you try Dristan Cold?
Absolutely.
How do you feel?
I feel amazingly good.
Dristan Cold relieves 9 tough cold symptoms. Dristan Cold, part of the Dristan family of products. Dristan, the face of relief today.
It's not Waterford Crystal or a Hasselblad lens. It's a headlamp. And if you think that's impressive, wait till you see what's attached. Introducing the new Lexus ES 300 Sports Sedan.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
Hey, give up. What's with all the exercise?
Oh, I just want to let everyone know that Sunsweet prune juice isn't just a delicious change of pace.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Sunsweet's a great natural source of energy.
Good. You're gonna need it.
An unhappy fan is suing the judge. We'll tell you why. I'm Bob Mueller. Stay with us for this story and more local news next on Channel 2 News at 6.
Finally this evening, the not-so-wild West. We've done a lot of growing up about the Old West in the last couple of years, come to realize that many of the stories we all read in the Hollywood movies we saw were really more myth than reality. And so fair warning about our final report, the new West, like the old, is not quite the way you imagine it. Here's Charlie Murphy.
Sunrise through the saguaro in southern Arizona. Every horse out here knows it's roundup time. That's no horse. It's Virgil Mercer in his ultralight. And that's son Gary in the helicopter. Together they're rounding up the dogies. But first they've got to find them. And that ain't easy out here in this cactus, partner.
The Camp Stool Ranch is 50 sections. That's 50 square miles. And a lot of it is straight up and down.
Though it's big, the ranch only supports a few hundred head. Every morning, Virgil reconnoiters the range, looking for dried-up water tanks, broken fences, injured animals. If he's moving cows, Virgil uses a siren to get their attention. It's only got 54 horsepower, but it does the work of 54 horses, and a whole lot easier.
The saddle is hard, and that old horse going along stroking him, encouraging him through the day, you get tired. Well, with this one, the seats are padded, and you just motor right along.
It'd take several men on horses half a day to search this canyon. Virgil does it in a few minutes. And what the ultralight can't do, the chopper can, cutting them in or out.
It's the best cutting horse around with a new set of shoes.
Mercer's homesteaded here in the 1880s and lived in this restored cabin. The ranch makes only a modest income, though it's rich in minerals and water. Virgil, who's 66, could sell out tomorrow, but won't.
It's a way of life. You raise your family. You don't worry about getting mugged or anything else. You live in harmony with nature. You get to experience something of beauty every day.
So every morning he gets into his flying suit and tells the horses to take another day off. He says he's not ready to retire and ride off into the sunset. Not on a horse, anyway. Charles Murphy, ABC News, Mammoth, Arizona.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
And now, the news continues.